So this is the quote. This is what inspired the show today. It's a quote from Samuel Adams, and it says, "It does not take a majority to prevail." Let me start again. "It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men and women." Can't leave the women out here. So that's what the title is today, the Bitcoin wildfire. It is spreading. You can see individuals getting into Bitcoin. Every day there's more lights turning on around the world, people buying Bitcoin for the first time. And as that happens, every single person, every single business that gets into Bitcoin is making the Bitcoin network more valuable. We're all just nodes in the Bitcoin network. And so every person that gets into Bitcoin is strengthening this network in a very beautiful, well thought out way, unlike other schemes out there. So what I'm going to talk about today quickly here is I got 4 things that we can be doing, because I think that this next year is going to be very important for people like us. We're going to have a lot of people coming to us for advice and for help with Bitcoin. And I think that there's many different ways to approach this. I've tried the majority of them. I've tried LinkedIn. I've tried Twitter. I've tried, obviously, YouTube. I've tried the knggolf route through our golf company. Some succeed, some fail. But the thing is, you just have to keep trying. And a few things that I've learned here is that the first one is that you have to educate yourself. You have to know what you're talking about. Because as I said, when Kev, I think it was Kev in the chat. Yeah, Kev asked how long it took to really understand Bitcoin when you first heard about it. So the reality is that people can't watch a 10-minute video on YouTube and understand Bitcoin. You can't send somebody an article and they're going to understand Bitcoin. You can't post something on your feed and somebody's going to happen to see it and they're going to all of a sudden be interested in Bitcoin. It's not the reality. And that's a big reason why I actually deleted my LinkedIn page last week. And I was thinking about it yesterday. I haven't even thought about it since then. I didn't delete it, but I deleted my app from my phone. And I said, this is my last day on LinkedIn. It felt like I was talking to the wind. It was wasting my time, my energy, and I just didn't need it. So that was my last post on LinkedIn last week. But I haven't missed it. I haven't even thought about LinkedIn since then. So you have to educate yourself, because the times that you're actually going to not convince somebody, but open somebody's eyes up to what's going on here in Bitcoin is going to be a long conversation with them. It's not going to be a text, an article, a video you send them. It's going to be a long discussion, a long conversation with somebody who's actually interested with an open mind about learning about Bitcoin. And so when that time comes, you have to be ready for that. So what you can do is you can educate yourself as best you can on as many different topics within Bitcoin as you can. I think the world of specialization is kind of over. I think you have to be very well-rounded in life. And Bitcoin is the same story there. So educate yourself, spend as much time as you possibly can learning about Bitcoin, and challenge yourself too. Challenge yourself to listen to some podcasts that you don't even really understand. I remember listening to a bunch of I still do this to this day, but there's podcasts that I listen to where I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I'm just trying to immerse myself in it. And somehow if I hear it once, twice, the third time, maybe that's when things will click for me. But you have to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable in that sense if you really want to understand this and help other people with it. So that's the first one, is educate yourself. The second one I would say is use the tools that we have available here, because a big part of this Bitcoin adoption is that people are actually going to understand the utility behind Bitcoin. And the fact that you can use, finally, after 30 years of the internet, we now have the ability to send micropayments online. Think about how many people use the internet every single day across the world. And until Bitcoin, we had no ability to send micropayments back and forth. But we have that now. And there's tools being built like Fountain, like Zap.stream, like Nostr, to push Bitcoin forward and actually get people using Bitcoin. And the only way that these are going to succeed is, number one, people are funding it, open source funding. And the second one is that people are actually using it. So I definitely don't mean to call out people on YouTube. There's a reason why I'm still on YouTube with the show, but you have to start using these tools like Zap.stream. You have to. If they're gonna succeed, if they're gonna survive, if they're gonna be around in 5 years, you have to start using these tools that we have available. There's a lot of very intelligent people who are working on these things. And if we're not going to use them, if we're just going to be happy that they exist, they're going to disappear. So that's number 2, is actually use the tools that we have available here and start using the freedom technologies like Zap.stream, like Nostr, like Fountain. Support these people as best you can. The third one here is I just wrote down shirts. But what I'm getting at there is that you should be somehow, whether you want to do it on your shirt, whether you want to do it on your head covers on the golf course, you should, everywhere you go, have some sort of Bitcoin attached to you. And that might sound weird. But what I'm saying is that if you were walking through the mall and you had a Bitcoin shirt on and said 21 million, or it had the Satoshi smiley face or something to do with Bitcoin, and all of a sudden somebody's walking past you and they see your shirt and you fire up a conversation with them, that's your starting point. That's how you build your network here, is by finding other Bitcoiners, by getting together with them in person and online. But if you weren't wearing that shirt, or if you had nothing to do with Bitcoin on you, they would have walked right past you, and you missed an opportunity there to meet somebody in Bitcoin. Because as I said, we're all just nodes here. And the more nodes that we have and that are connected, the more powerful this network is going to be. So consider spending some money, spending some sats on like Bitcoin shirts, maybe a Bitcoin hat, whatever it is. Just find a way to let people know that you're a Bitcoiner in public. Because those run-ins, those opportunities, you don't want to miss those. So I'm not saying like buy one Bitcoin t-shirt and wear it everywhere, never wash it, sleep in it, never leave the house without it, but just have some that are actually nice shirts that you can wear. And I think that it'll actually spark a lot of conversations and build your network. Because that's the whole point of this thing, is you want to have a solid, strong network here. And the larger your network within Bitcoin, the more you can buy and sell things with Bitcoin. Fuck was that already? That scared me. Something fell in the kitchen. Scared the boys. So consider that. And the one thing I would say, the one person that I would suggest you go check out is actually a sponsor of the show. And he has a website. It's called juxtapose.com. And he has like 10 different Bitcoin shirts. I have one myself. I wear it all the time. And I just think it's a very easy way to strengthen your network without really doing anything, just fucking walking around. Daddy-O says, my normie friends give me shit for wearing Bitcoin shirts. Who cares? They're taking shit from them is minuscule compared to the chance of actually meeting a Bitcoiner in real life. This is a good question here from Pal. He says, do we advertise that we've possibly got a shitload of Bitcoin, possible risk? I do think that there's a risk there. I think that you approach it in a way where you keep the first rule of Bitcoin in mind always. And the first rule of Bitcoin is never tell anybody else how much Bitcoin you have. And I really mean that. I mean that towards your kids, your wife, I don't know, maybe depending on how much you trust her, how loose her lips are, your parents, your best friends. Never tell anybody. I haven't told anybody how much Bitcoin I have. And there's a reason for that. Nobody needs to know. It's none of their fucking business, right? So that the number one rule in Bitcoin is never tell anybody else how much Bitcoin you have under any circumstances. Because if people find out, just let's say an example of you told somebody by accident when you had a couple beers that you had half a Bitcoin. And all of a sudden in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, when that half Bitcoin, people always remember. I don't know what it is. Something is triggered in the human brain about remembering how much money somebody makes. There's something that happens within the human brain that people never forget that. And so in 5 years from now, if half a Bitcoin's all of a sudden worth $1 million or $5 million, you're going to have a very big target on your back. So just be careful with it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I deleted LinkedIn. It's like, I want people to know that I am a Bitcoiner, that I can help them if they need to. But I also don't really need the whole world knowing that I have Bitcoin. So I think that there is a certain way to approach this whole thing. And that's probably the next thing I'm going to talk about here is, not probably, it is the next thing I'm going to talk about. What the hell happened on Zapdos stream here? Oh, we got a raid from Kieran. Holy cow. Look out. I don't know what a raid is, but it sounds scary. The Grinder says, the dog is so cute. I used to have a white shepherd for many years. It is. Somebody asked me yesterday, I took Arnie out for a walk, and somebody asked me what kind of dog he was. They were on the golf course and they yelled, what kind of dog is that? And I said, well, he's a mixture of about 100 different breeds. And I think that he is. He's white for some reason. He has, when he sits and you see him from behind, he looks exactly like a shepherd. So he definitely has lots of shepherd in him. I think that he has part husky. He's looking less and less husky-ish though as he moves on. But very smart dog. Very good dog. And he just loves to just hang out. He's sleeping right now. My kind of guy. And so the last one here, this is what I would suggest to people. And I've talked about this in the Living in the Future chat before, in the videos that we do on there. But send out a document. Create a document for yourself, a one-page document that you can send out to as many friends, as many family members as you want, without doing it in a forceful way. Just say, hey, I've spent the last couple of years in Bitcoin. This is what I've been working on. I'm obviously not going to pressure you into doing anything with it. But if you ever have any interest or any initiative to get into Bitcoin, reach out to me. I prepared, the first 3 steps. If you want to go at it on your own, this is what you need to do. This is my referral link for it. And if you have any questions along the way, just reach out to me. That's it. So you send them this one-page document. It has your referral link on it for the one exchange that you use. And, with that, you're going to build trust. They probably won't respond right away. They won't say, yeah, I've actually been very interested in learning about Bitcoin. Let's set up a call next week. Don't expect anybody to immediately jump on it, but you're planting the seed, essentially. You're spreading the fire. And when that time comes, when they see Bitcoin, most people are going to start paying attention to Bitcoin when it's $100,000 US. And so when that time comes, they're going to say, okay, I want to get some Bitcoin. George sent me this document back in May. I'm going to reach out to him and just see what he advised me to do. So just be there for people. Have that document be their first thought. Whenever they think of Bitcoin, they think of you. That's what you should be focused on in your little network. So that's what I would say to that. And as that happens, as you continue to do these things every single day, the Bitcoin wildfire is going to spread. It's going to spread without you, but the more people we can have doing this and advocating for Bitcoin, the more nodes we're going to have and the faster this adoption is going to happen. And the faster this adoption happens, the faster we can get out of this absolute debacle of a world we're living in right now. So there you are, folks.